Don't you love it when you learn something about something you've bought, like weeks after you bought it? That would have been really helpful to know when you bought it. Morning, y'all. This is David, the Georgia photographer, and today I'm on the north shore of Chattanooga. I've ventured out away from where I normally go. I normally go in downtown, which is about 1.5 miles, 2 miles, kind of that way. But I'm over here on the north side of the river, up in a neighborhood. I don't know the actual name of this neighborhood. There's a bunch of early 20th century homes and some late 19th century homes, and I'm going to walk around these neighborhoods. I have the 28mm lens on my camera, so that's a nice wide lens, and that'll allow me to like do some sort of architectural, and I don't have to get in their yard to get a nice photo. So I'm just gonna do some really cool kind of documentarian style photography and walk around this neighborhood a little while and get a little exercise while I'm at it. And I'm gonna take you guys along while I do it. Let's go. But before I do, if you mess with your gear long enough, you learn about a feature that your gear brings to the table that you wasn't aware of when you bought it, that you thought the whole time you're using it, man, it would be handy if I could do this with that piece of equipment or that with this piece of equipment. Well, this strap has been on this little bag that I bought while I was up at Fort Smith, and it attaches right here on this little loop. For the longest, I thought it was sewn on. Come to find out, it's Velcro. So you can remove it. This is the tie down you basically have. So when you put this thing on, it comes up from the other side and it keeps the bag stable on your back. So if you're just trying to like cover ground, this is a really handy thing to have. But if you're just walking around like I'm doing now, and I'm carrying some spare batteries and stuff in it with my camera, it's not a big deal, and you kind of want it convenient because it's meant to be pulled around to the front to get to your stuff, and then you throw it to the back and you go on about your day. And this strap been flopping around and crap. I figured out literally last night, it's held on with Velcro. I give up. Come on, let's go take pictures. One of the first things I notice about old architecture and things like this entrance to this park is that they had some really interesting things that they did. I'm gonna show you this. All right. First of all, the steps are radiused. Radius steps are not super common anymore. And it's because it's harder to build them than it is squared off steps. You'll almost exclusively see hard angles nowadays because it's easier. You don't see these curves hardly at all. Second of all was, when the park was initially built, this entrance was gated. There's the hinge for the gate. And it was a double swinging gate because that's the lock points where the drop rods went in when they closed the park at night. It's just neat to look back at history and see how they did things different. And they built this park in 1939, right at the end of the Great Depression. It was probably one of them public works deals where they was getting government funding from the New Deal probably, and that's where this came from. It was like all of the overboard, what do you call that? The mantle or the lintel. It's a lintel. It's made of poured concrete. Yeah. It's even cracking. It's just interesting to me to look back and see that sort of thing. See, I'd like to see the architecture of the gate with the way they went to the trouble of building this entrance. It would have been cool to see. I bet it was real decorative. It's just really cool to see all this ancient architecture. Get back here in the shadow again, get the exposure straightened out. But this one house on the corner, I'm pretty sure is new. I thought it was vintage, looked like it had a colonial styling, but it don't fit, and it just looks new. But like this house here, that's a very well done restoration of what appears to be a 1930s, maybe 40s style home. Those tapered column front porches seem to be kind of the signature of that era. It's really cool. This whole neighborhood's like this. It's just littered with these houses, if that's the right word. But yeah, I love this kind of architecture. Just walking these old neighborhoods is fun for me. Plus it's exercise. I have a photograph of myself from the 90s of me standing on top of that pergola after I built it by myself. It's hidden completely behind foliage, but there's a beautiful handrail built onto it, goes down the staircase. You can't see any of it because of the greenery. But yeah, the pergola goes all the way across the front porch, and that huge bush right in front of it's hiding all of it. But yeah, at one point it was completely covered in wisteria. I come by here about every 10 years or so and see if it's still there. But yeah, it's probably 25 years old at this point. But yeah, I built that probably in 1996, 97 maybe. What you got here is a really interesting piece of basically history or time passing. This is time passing is what you're seeing right behind me. What you have is a 1930s, 40s era home, and then at some point later on, and not too much later because it's close in the matchment, but as you can see, this shiplap siding is actually double cut boards. It's 2 layers to the board. They run it through a planer mill to simulate shiplap so that you could do the wall half or twice as fast. But that's pretty common. At least the lower boards are. The upper ones might actually be singles. I can't really tell. But no, I think they're all the same. At some point the house may have been resided, but at one point this was the front porch, and it was actually walled in and turned into an extra room on the house. And you can see up at the top, or I can, the seam line where the old roof and the new meet. And you can see that the roof is exposed framing and wood lath board decking. This house just has character. Plus it has the chert rock, which is locally sourced stone masonry, as well as the whole 40s pillar style. It's just cool. Here's a little piece of information. If you're doing a little walkabouts like this, take a lens that'll go a little wider than you normally shoot, unless you're a wide angle kind of person. If you don't have a prime lens that's wide, get you the kit lens or a 24-70, and you can pull it back to 24. This is a 28mm prime. It allows me to get basically out at the sidewalk and still get the whole house in the frame by bending reality like that, so to say. And it also doesn't have to be a fast prime. This is an f3.5. A 24-70 f4 would work perfectly fine. I'm stopping down to f8 on almost all of these photos. The photos of the flowers, I opened up the aperture to f3.5 and went to minimum focus distance just to kind of make it a little more artistic. But all the house photos are at f8. It's just a little tidbit I wanted to throw in there. So until next time, get your camera out. Go take a picture with it, all right? We'll see you later. Bye-bye.